Lucy Powell, the shadow leader of the House, highlighted all the things wrong with the current government and Sunak's inability to control his ministers. In Penny Mordaunt's response, she managed to lie about the energy security and admit that she knows the Conservatives are finished, by claiming that in the last session of Parliament for the Labour Party, they didn't put through as many bills as the Conservatives are doing in their last session of the party's reign.
The Prime Minister's first and likely only King's speech on what should be his moment of maximum power and authority, yet it wasn't. Because he's too weak. He has no burning agenda, he cannot escape his government's own record, and he certainly cannot be the change the country is crying out for. The verdict is in. Thin gruel, damp squib, dull as ditch water, a series of gimmicks, and a Prime Minister already checked out his wheelie at the door. Not my words, but those of members opposite. She knows it, they know it. Yet another failed reset. They're out of ideas and out of road, drifting to defeat, as one has put it today. The programme is so thin, it's embarrassing. Of the few bills announced, 5 are carryovers, 4 barely longer than a page, 3 we've seen before, and a flagship crime bill that's already been shelved. Despite the big issues facing our country, their answers are so small. Nothing to tackle the cost of living crisis, just a Prime Minister deluded that everything is going great, even getting his own figures wrong. Nothing on NHS waiting lists or mental health, despite a bill being promised many times. Education consigned to lofty ambitions years away. Nothing of substance on transport, despite Network North being the Prime Minister's last big reset. Another flunk. But they found time for regulation of pedicabs and a bill to make it easier to sack doctors. Does the government really think sacking doctors is the solution to an NHS crisis? Others, political stunts, not fixing problems. Take North Sea gas and oil. Can the leader confirm that we already have regular North Sea licensing and it hasn't prevented the worst cost of living crisis in generations? Can she also confirm that in the midst of that crisis driven by energy bills, the grand offer of this King's speech is a bill which, by the admission of the Energy Secretary, will do absolutely nothing about bills? The Prime Minister is too weak to stand up to his Home Secretary, who wants to criminalise giving homeless people tents because she thinks it's a lifestyle choice. Despicable. We all know what she's up to. It's naked. Instead of sacking her, the Prime Minister cowers next to her. He's cowering next to her today too. She's out of control. She's utterly irresponsible, undermining the police while stoking up division ahead of a difficult and important weekend. She's unhinged.
That between 1997 and 2010, 13 parliamentary sessions, there were only 2 sessions that put through more bills than we put passed in the last parliamentary session. And in the last sessions of Labour administrations, the average number of bills brought forward were 21. And I'm afraid I disagree with her. I don't think that our energy security or cost of living issues are remotely helped by lessening our energy security, which is why we are bringing forward that bill.
Or whether we wish to make use of the oil and gas that lies off our own shores, and in doing so, we increase our energy security.
Exactly
we increase
how?
the amount
Just
of money that
explain
goes to the Treasury.
Exactly how do we increase energy security by doing that?
Because there's a certain amount of oil and gas in the world that's going to be used, and frankly, if it will all go onto an open market.
Exactly.
But
how
we
does
can,
it increase that
in the worst case scenario, if it's coming from British shores, then Britain can make use of it. But more importantly...
Hang on. No, wait a minute.
Before you finish.
No, that's really important. No, I want you to answer that. You can make them in a moment, but just...
OK, as long as I can make them in a moment.
The government often talks... Hang on, Liz, wait a minute.
As long as I can make them in a moment, because we haven't quite finished yet.
The government talks about energy security. So just because I genuinely can't quite grasp this. If the oil or gas is drilled and a private company then decides it's going to sell it on the open market to whoever it wants to sell it to, how does that help Britain's energy security? We will surely be in line along with everyone else buying it. Or am
Well,
I
we
missing
will,
something?
but I think you'll find that if we had to, we could make sure that it came into the United Kingdom. For a start, it would have to go via the United Kingdom to get out.
So how?
But
What,
can
you
I-
would,
can
you
I
would
just
hang
make-
on. No,
I've still got
wait.
two more points.
You can make
Still got
them,
two
but,
more points
but this
to
is
make.
important.
Still
So
got two more points.
you would force the company, the
No, I'm
private
not going to
company,
get into a
in order to
hypothetical.
sell it to
I'm
us at
very
a time of...
hypothetical, Fiona, very
Well, you say it
hypothetical.
would increase our energy
We're
security.
not
I'm
there,
just
are
trying
we?
to understand
Well, we're not there yet. So the other point I wanted to make is there are
Have
100...
you understood it?
No.
Last week, Penny Mordaunt was clearly fighting her leadership bid, and you can see all about that in the video that's on screen now. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.